My Eye Doctor cares that you're ready to get back out there, and we're ready to get you looking and seeing your best. So don't just go back to work. Go get 'em. Don't just go back to school. Go get 'em. Don't just go back to living life. Go get 'em. It's time for your My Eye Doctor comprehensive eye health exam. We welcome all insurances, and you'll get great deals on 2 pairs of glasses or contacts plus glasses. Go get 'em! Book your eye exam at myeyedoctor.com.
Ooh, this looks good.
You know, it's about your passion. It's about what you feel. What makes me smile. What makes me feel like me is having a pair of fly and affordable frames. With the right pair of frames, you can celebrate your style and your outlook.
Sounds like a hit to me.
Ooh, tortoise.
What are you doing?
I'm taking a quiz.
But you're 36 years old and not in school.
Well, thanks for the reminder. But it's a frames quiz by Warby Parker. I answer a few questions. It tells me which glasses are right for my face. And then I can try 5 pairs for free.
Sounds like you've really done your homework.
If there were any homework, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Because I don't have my glasses yet.
Touche.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Essence Johnson, an HBCU MAID residency trained community and correctional health optometrist. I am also the Chief Visionary Officer of Black Eye Care Perspective, and I welcome you all to our 2nd annual IMPACT HBCU. If you see it, you can be it. It is our goal that you will leave more informed about what it takes to pursue a career in the eye care industry and inspired to become an optometrist by earning your Doctor of Optometry degree. I would first like to give a shout out to my alma mater, Prairie View A&M University, who has been producing productive people since 1876. And to the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, who will be celebrating 100 years of sisterhood, scholarship, and service in 2022. I invite you all who are joining us today to rep your school, your college, your university, as well as your sorority or fraternity in the comments below. We have individuals from elementary school all the way through college and beyond, from California to Texas, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Louisiana to Georgia, New York, Maryland, North Carolina, and Florida, and many, many other states in between. Not only do we have representation from across the nation, but internationally as well, reaching Germany, Namibia, Nigeria, and Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago in the West Indies. Black Eye Care Perspective was founded by optometrist Dr. Adam Ramsey and Dr. Daryl Glover and designed and created to cultivate and foster lifelong relationships between Black students and optometrists and the eye care industry. Along with myself and Dr. Jacoby Cleaver, Dr. Tiffany Humes, our optometry associations, industry partners and allies, and community of doctors, we are redefining the color of the eye care industry 1% at a time by creating a pipeline for Black students into this profession. IMPACT HBCU is one part of the pipeline to reach Black students at historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, and beyond, to raise awareness and provide assistance to students to not only help them survive, but thrive in this profession and in their careers. Optometrists like myself represent the less than 2% of optometrists that identify as Black or African American practicing in the United States, and the approximately 40% of optometrists that receive their undergraduate degree from an HBCU. Tonight, we learn how diverse the profession of optometry is in regard to how we practice in our panel discussion with Drs. Danielle Richardson and Fayiz Mahgoub. We received diversity, equity, and inclusion updates from our partners, America's Best, Contacts and Eyeglasses, My Eye Doctor, and Warby Parker, and spotlight one of my other alma maters, the Pennsylvania College of Optometry at Salus University. I want you guys to know that if you see it, You can be it, and the career field of optometry allows many of us to combine our passions with our profession. For me, optometry is my waitressing job, and it allows a platform and pathway to explore many interests and be of influence no matter the arena. Today, we will discuss the diversity and flexibility of this profession with two optometrists that are surely ones to watch, Dr. Danielle Richardson and Dr. Fayiz Mahgoub. Hello, you guys.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Hello, good evening.
So I will just briefly state that Dr. Danielle Richardson, she's a first-generation optometrist who completed her undergraduate education at Indiana University and then received her Doctor of Optometry from the Indiana University School of Optometry in Bloomington, Indiana. And Dr. Fayiz Mahgoub is a first-generation optometrist who completed his undergraduate education at Colorado State University and received his Doctor of Optometry from Western University College of Optometry in Pomona, California. Welcome, you guys. I know that I gave a little introduction of each of you, but I would like everyone to hear in your words, starting with you, Dr. Richardson, who you are and how did you fall in love with optometry?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me again, everyone. My name is Dr. Danielle Richardson. I am a practicing optometrist. I am based in Los Angeles, California. As Dr. Johnson said, I attended Indiana University for my undergrad. So I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, shout out to Tau chapter. And I stayed in Bloomington to complete my optometric education. So I actually discovered optometry while I was a student in undergrad. So I was a member of an academic scholarship program for high achieving minority students. I was already a biology major. It was my sophomore year. I knew that I wanted to pursue a health profession career, but I didn't like blood and I didn't like touching people. So through research and process of elimination, I realized optometry would be the perfect fit for me. I had worn glasses and contacts since I was young, so I had a lot of familiarity and experience with the profession. My optometrist growing up was actually a Black woman as well, Dr. Gloria Jennings. So to your point, if you can see it, you can be it. It never even crossed my mind that optometry wasn't a career that I could pursue because I grew up having a Black woman optometrist. But I really discovered the profession in undergrad, and my sophomore year, that's when I started to talk to the School of Optometry at Indiana University. I started to learn more about what an optometrist is, what optometry looks like from a day-to-day perspective. And then once I was actually in optometry school, I started to learn more about the different career paths that an optometrist could have. So when I first fell in love with this career is when I realized it would be able to provide me that health professional care that I was looking for. I definitely wanted a job where I could help people and talk to people every day. I also wanted a job where I could be my own boss and I could have autonomy over my time, autonomy over the way I lived my life. I love that my optometrist was able to be active with her kids and pick them up from work. And I really respected and admired the lifestyle she was living. And then lastly, I think it's such a great profession because it's one of the only medical professions that provides a fashion and a retail and a business component all mixed up in with the medical and healthcare perspective additionally. So those are kind of the reasons why I fell in love with optometry, and that's a little bit about how it came to be.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Dr. Majoo.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're all having a good evening. Thanks to Black Actor Perspective for allowing me to be a part of this year's IMPACT HBCU event. A little bit about myself. My family is actually originally from Sudan, and that's where I grew up. And we moved to the States when I was 9 years old. Colorado. Been living here for the past 20 years. And growing up, I had an interest in science and also in healthcare, but I didn't really understand all the different opportunities that were out there. I actually had not had an eye exam up until when I got into undergrad. I'd had, the school vision screenings like most of us have had, but I got really lucky actually because my undergraduate advisor happened to be the actual advisor for the pre-optometry club on campus. And so up until that point, I didn't even understand that optometry was a path that was available to me. And she really played a critical role in my journey because she introduced me to local doctors who hosted us at their practices. They really did an amazing job of opening up their practices to us and giving us all the time we needed to be able to ask questions and explore the field. And through that journey, I really discovered that optometry was the path that was the right path for me. And after I got into optometry school, those opportunities opened up even wider once I learned about the different specialties that are available in optometry. And I would say I fell in love with optometry all over again through that process. So I'm excited to share more of our experiences with you guys and answer any questions that you might have.
No, I love that. You guys both touched on how the representation, whether it is someone you identify with culturally or just simply professionally, help introduce you to that, to our marvelous field of optometry, if I must say so myself. From that introduction, from your role models, from the people of influence, from your mentors, why don't you go into a little bit on how, I know you, Dr. Richardson, you're not originally from California, but you have been kind of all over, and your journey had you go to Indiana. And then even with you, Dr. Majoo, you went to a school outside of your home state as well. So why don't you guys both touch on a little bit for students who are looking at this big list of 23 schools, and some may be close in proximity to them, some of them may be a little bit further. How was that process of selecting a school and then getting admitted into a school? Dr. Richardson.
So for me, it was actually pretty easy because my parents and my scholarships were able to help me pay for undergrad, but I was on my own paying for optometry school. So that left in-state as pretty much my only option that I wanted to take on the student loan debt. I wanted to minimize my student loan burden as much as possible. So I really focused on being in state. And I know there are other schools that do offer in-state tuition after your first year of enrollment. So that is a possibility. But for me, I just decided to stay in state. So that's kind of the reason why I picked my optometry school. Although I chose to stay in Bloomington, Indiana for my optometry education, I'm a city girl. I knew that I was always headed out of there. So I really was super intentional while I was in school about networking and doing what it took to learn about the job market in New York City, which is where I wanted to move and work after optometry school. And so that's just kind of was my North Star all through school. I knew that that is ultimately where I wanted to go. So if you are not familiar with the program of optometric education, it's a 4-year program. Our first 3 years are pretty much at our home school. And then that last year, you're doing rotations through clinic sites. So you're not actually in the classroom anymore. You're just seeing patients. So during my 4th year of optometry school, I was very intentional about taking a rotation that was in New York, then another one that was in Washington, D.C., just so I was on the East Coast, so I could interview for jobs and find a job that was a good fit for me that would allow me to move to New York, which is what I ultimately wanted to do. So with New York as my North Star, that's kind of where I began my career. I started practicing in 2015 for lens crafters and some boutique private practices. And I was there for about a year or so. And then life took me to Houston, Texas. So I had to kind of transfer my license. And what I mean by transfer is optometry is a legislative profession. So you have to be licensed in each state. So I had a New York license, but I had to apply for a Texas license to practice in Houston, which I ultimately got. So I moved from New York to Houston and I practiced there for a few years. I practiced in corporate settings, but I also practiced in franchise settings. And then life took me to Los Angeles. So that is where I am. And now I will be. I'm done moving around, done applying for optometry licenses. So once you have that first license, it's kind of easy to get the others just because you have to take a test of the laws for each state, which as a healthcare provider, you do want to be well-versed and knowledgeable about the laws, the practicing laws in your state. So each state requires its own application and licensing process, which I did through all of them. But I was told along my path that you can't practice there. It's too saturated, or you won't be able to find a job there, and blah, 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 blah. And I think a lot of people have a lot of fear and a lot of doubt about leaving their hometown or leaving their home state or leaving their school or community that they are a part of. And I always have rejected that. It's like that is a projection of your experience and your limiting beliefs, but I am not bound to that. So optometry is a career that allows for movement. So I have practiced, even though I've only been out of school for about 6 years, I've practiced in New York State, in New York City, in Texas, in Houston, and now here in California, in Los Angeles. So I've had quite a path, and it's been, again, each step of the way, it's just kind of piece by piece, but it's certainly possible to move. And for me, my places and my locations of practice have always been more related to my lifestyle than anything else.
No, I love that. I love how you are practicing related to your lifestyle. I too am a California born and raised, but went to school in the South, went to optometry school on the East Coast. Am a multi-licensed doctor, but also now practicing in the South. So it just goes to show how kind of flexible and also fluid optometry is, and how you can literally pack it up and take it wherever you go. Dr. Majoo, tell us about your journey.
Absolutely. So I did not have an optometry school in state, so that was not an option for me. But what I wanted to do because of that is really kind of have a blank slate and try to evaluate all the different schools that are out there. I started by doing some online research, visiting all the schools' websites, trying to get a feel for all the schools and what they were offering, in addition to just the educational aspect. Because one of the things that I heard from shadowing different doctors is that all the doctors that I had shadowed, they'd gone to different schools, but all of them felt that they got a good quality education. So I felt that that was actually, a nice thing, that I didn't feel that, no matter what school I chose, I wasn't worried about the quality of the education being there. So I took some other things into account, the location of the school, what the school emphasized as far as optometric specialties. You'll hear about different optometric specialties like vision therapy, sports vision training, low vision, a lot of different specialties like contact lenses as well. And so different schools have place a different emphasis on different specialties based on the facilities and the staff and the research that they have focused on. So that was one thing that I took into account. And then another thing that I actually took into account as well is a program that my local state had, which is called WICHE, which is I forget the acronym what it stands for, but it's essentially an exchange program to where my home state funded a portion of my tuition if I went to one of a handful of Western schools. And so it was an alliance between several states in the Western part of the country. And so that helped also kind of narrow my decision down, and finally narrowed it down to one school, actually to two schools. And I applied to two and decided to go to Western. So one thing I would encourage you guys as you're exploring the different opportunities for different optometry schools is start by casting a wide net, really investigate all the different opportunities that are out there. And as you learn about the things that you prioritize, then you can narrow the list down. It can be kind of a daunting process in the beginning, but just know that really, regardless of what school you go to, you should feel confident that you're going to get a good education regardless. And so, focus on the things that would make that experience even more enjoyable, whether it's the specialties that the school focus on, the financial kind of commitment that you'd be signing up for, the location that the school is going to be in, and take your time as far as engaging with people who are either current students or graduates. With social media, it's easier than ever to do that. So I encourage you to kind of take advantage of all those different resources.
And I will say, Dr. Majoo, he mentioned WICHE, so that's WICHE, and that's your Western Interstate Commission for Higher Education. So you'll hear a lot of West Coast students reference that program, but there are also, we call them like contract seats with certain states at other optometry schools as well. So we all know that it is never guaranteed that the road is going to be easy. We may definitely reach the destination, but it isn't without its twisted turns. And I know you guys each have great kind of stories and anecdotes and testimonies on resiliency and overcoming anxiety and fearlessness. And this time I'll start with you, Dr. Majoo, because just recently we got to link up in Las Vegas at our Vision Expo West conference and sit on a panel for the National Optometric Association. And we were each given words, and your word was fearless. So can you share with everyone tonight what that means and how you really had to embody fearlessness and what it does to you as a professional, also just how it motivates you personally as well?
Absolutely. So for me, the journey to becoming a more fearless person is more tied to being comfortable with uncertainty and being comfortable with being uncomfortable, really pushing myself outside my comfort zone and trying to push my boundaries. And that's something that I've grown to kind of cultivate through my optometry journey, and especially after I graduated and decided to start a technology company because I had no background in engineering or being an entrepreneur, but it was something that I felt a calling to do. So, that was a scary step to really kind of invest in something that I had no prior experience in. But one thing that I think I want to share about that concept of fearlessness is not about necessarily just having it or you don't. I think it's a process, and having a mindset of pushing yourself gradually to expand your abilities and expand what type of things that you actually want to pursue. So, I would say start with where you are, but have an understanding for where you want to end up, and then understand that along that process, failure is not a possibility, it's an inevitability. So you will fail no matter what, but understanding how to mitigate the different risks that are out there will help reduce your anxiety about where you're actually going and what will happen when you fail. Because everything that I've kind of learned has come on the back of a mistake for the most part. So over time, you end up refining your abilities to make less mistakes or to make better mistakes as you go on. So I think it's a combination of understanding where you want to go, being comfortable with the idea that you don't know how to actually get there, you don't know what you're doing, and that you are going to fail along the way, but that you mitigate that anxiety and fear by really being as prepared as possible and by surrounding yourself with people who are a support system for you along the journey.
Well, that is beautiful, but say it one more time so the people in the chat can get it. They loved what you said about uncertainty, but what caught me was about failure. What failure is not a
I would say it's not a possibility, it's an inevitability.
inevitability. We like that. You got that, you guys, for the chat? Failure is not a possibility, it's an inevitability. They're going to get that in the chat for you guys. Then, Dr. Richardson, we had the pleasure of both of you guys actually through our Johnson & Johnson Vision Consultant Series to speak at our Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club, which tomorrow is the 13th. So we will have a meeting tomorrow with another lovely Johnson & Johnson speaker. But when you came and spoke to the club, Dr. Richardson, you told us about your trials with anxiety, but also your triumphs of overcoming it and how it really lends to the doctor that you are today. So can you speak to us tonight a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So when I was in optometry school, there was a period of time where I just felt like I had made the wrong decision. I didn't feel like it was the profession for me. I wasn't as passionate about it as my classmates. I just felt very overwhelmed and stressed out with the academic pressure and the academic rigor of being in a professional program. And I didn't really know how I was going to make this work for me. So I actually was suffering from a lot of stress-related illnesses because I was so anxious and overwhelmed while I was in optometry school. And because I was learning about medicine and science, I would go to my doctor, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. None of the things were working though. So my doctor doctor is like, babe, you're stressed. So why don't you try and work on the stress as opposed to trying to treat the symptoms? So through that experience, that's when I discovered yoga. My doctor recommended that I focus on stress reduction modalities, which for me became yoga and just living a holistic lifestyle. And so once I graduated from optometry school, I started to pursue a path of yoga and holistic health and healing a little bit more seriously. Also, I had the time finally. I wasn't bound to the school year calendar and to my optometric schedules. So through that experience, I was able to kind of witness what health felt like for me, right? And that's a body free of the physical symptoms of anxiety, a body free of the physical symptoms of stress, a mind free of the mental tension that comes along with being in that heightened state at all times. So once I kind of got to witness what that experience felt like for me, that became something I was really passionate about sharing with others. So through that experience, I learned that, stress, anxiety, all of these things are really related to our ambition, right? Like we wouldn't be seeking higher education, or we wouldn't be seeking something if we weren't driven to accomplish it. And it's okay to be ambitious. It's okay to want to reach for the stars, but you have to be mindful of your health in the process. And when I was a student, that's something that I didn't necessarily know for my first 3 years of school. It's something that I started to learn towards the end of optometry school, but it's a lesson that I absolutely learned at the end. So it's really all about balance. And it's about, it's okay to sprint for a short amount of time, and it's okay to work really hard, but there has to be some rest. There has to be some recovery, and that has to be holistic, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So my biggest takeaway from managing my anxiety in school was just that you can't do things that are going to make yourself sick. And if you are in a constant state of stress, you are making yourself sick. So that situation played out multiple times in my career. I've worked in jobs that made me sick. I've worked commutes or schedules or things that have been too demanding for me or just really out of alignment. And so in those moments and in those experiences, I always have to return to management, right? Which is about balance and which is about figuring out how to keep yourself healthy, how to continue to pursue your dreams, pursue your goals, pursue the things and the things that define success for you, but to do it in a way that is healthy. So that is really what I learned through my experience in optometry school. Had it not been for my stressed out optometry school lifestyle, I wouldn't be where I am today.
No, I love that. Sadly, there's this idea or concept or culture of toxic positivity or positive toxicity. Either way, those two words do not even belong in the same sentence together. So I am with Dr. Richardson. If you are in a situation, whether it's in school, with a person, with a job, and it's just not serving you, you're not happy, you are physically getting sick, get out of it. There are way too many other opportunities out there for you to be stuck in a place where you are just unwell mentally, emotionally, psychologically, all of those great things. And that really brings us into Dr. Richardson, how you are doing an amazing job having to infuse your extra optometry passions with eye care, with your 9 to 5. And as some people will say, you also have a 5 to 9 as well. So tell us how you really infuse this fitness, wellness, self-care, positive culture with the things that you're doing inside and outside of the profession.
So, if you all are a little bit unfamiliar with me, I started a holistic wellness company, Fierce Clarity, and the intention behind starting that company was to provide wellness retreats for other professional women who were experiencing the same stress-related illnesses that I was experiencing. What I realized through conversations with my friends, through my colleagues, is that so many of us were suffering from the same things. And again, the same thing that makes us successful can make us sick. So it's just about learning how to better manage that. So what I decided when I graduated from optometry school is I decided I wanted to be able to talk about yoga and wellness and astrology and it not be weird. So what did that mean at the time? I had no idea, but I just knew that I wanted to create a space for myself where I could talk about these things professionally and not be seen as less intelligent or not be taken seriously because people don't deem this as professional behavior. So that's kind of what led me to a path of entrepreneurship. And the most interesting thing about it is, you know, it's like your gifts will always make room for you, right? Like you showing up as who you truly are is the best thing you can do for yourself. So over time, that side career sort of bled over into my professional career because holistic wellness, self-care, like just thinking about things from a larger and a bird's eye view and making lifestyle changes to treat physical symptoms is something I'm passionate about. So it's something that I would share with my patients. So being able to kind of take that holistic view within optometry comes from my yoga experience. So I would start to have patients ask me more about yoga, and I start to feel a little bit more comfortable about being open, right? Like, please don't look at me like I have 3 horns on my head because I do yoga. But over the years, I've actually really been able to create that career for myself. And I always tell new grads and younger students, you know, in your 20s, I feel like there's so much pressure on ourselves to like make it in this whole like Forbes 30 under 30 microwave success story. And that's really not realistic, and it puts a lot of internal pressure on ourselves. So instead of focusing on that, it's more about just learning from each experience that comes across your path, learning about what you want to do for work, learning about what type of lifestyle you want to live. How many patients do you want to see a day? How far away from work do you want to live? Do you want to live somewhere where it's sunny, somewhere where it's cold? But actually thinking about things in this way and just using each experience to get you closer and closer to that ideal vision and version is the best thing you can do for yourself professionally. So that is what I have done. So I knew for me, I wanted to create space for my full self. So I didn't want to have to keep whispering, I do yoga on the side or saying that to people. I wanted to actually be able to share these tools and these practices, this way to manage stress in a natural and healthy way I wanted to share with others. So at this point in my career, I really feel so grateful to be where I am. So I'm in patient care part-time. So I see patients 3 times a week. I am a consultant for Johnson & Johnson Vision Care. So I get to meet amazing optometrists and students and really speak about not only our products and services, but just how to be successful in the career path of optometry. And then I run Fierce Clarity, which is my holistic wellness and lifestyle business, where I host corporate yoga classes, corporate retreats. We host YouTube yoga, online yoga during this pandemic. We had yoga over the summer in Beverly Hills, and we also have active wear. So I have this whole other company on the side. But the cool thing is that it's all been integrated into who I am. And people know me as Dr. Danielle when they come to see me as a patient. They might have come from a yoga class to come see me as a patient. A patient might come take my yoga class. And I've really had a lot of success being who I am. So to create that type of career, to create something ideal for yourself, it does take time. And so don't beat yourself up when your first opportunity or your first job doesn't look the way you want it to look. Obviously, it's taken me a bit of time to get here, but I will say be intentional and remember there are no negatives. It's all about learning. So every L is a lesson, right? So it's just about taking information and using that to get more clear and more clear and more clear about what your ideal career looks like. So for me, that's a career where I can talk about holistic health and wellness and all my woo-woo vibey stuff, but where I can still be taken seriously and still be respected, because at the end of the day, I have earned a professional degree. So you can combine all of the things into something that suits you. It's just going to take time, perseverance, patience, and honestly, it takes vision and self-belief.
No, thank you, Dr. Richardson. If you guys see me smiling, it's because the chat is lit. And it just makes me so happy. We have some shout outs, on behalf of Johnson & Johnson Vision. Hi, Dr. Mickles. Hello, Dr. Lee. Dr. Boone, who was the first female optometrist in Virginia. She's in the chat, and she has given a great introduction to you, Dr. Majoo. You are an innovative optometrist, industry entrepreneur, and the National Optometric Association treasurer. So why don't you share with us your multiple modes of practices and opportunities in the industry? I also know that you too are a business owner, an inventor, and an innovator. So tell us how you infuse technology into optometry, and also all of the other things that you do in this profession, because you are definitely one to watch, so I've read.
Thank you so much. Well, one thing I'd like to kind of start off by prefacing everything is trying to communicate to everyone who is exploring optometry or really in a healthcare profession is that you're not necessarily going to know where you end up before you start the journey, right? And that's something that I think can be, discomforting in the beginning. But I think that as you discover these things throughout your journey, you become more dedicated and more passionate. And so for me, by the time I got into optometry school, I knew that I wanted to be an optometrist, but I was mostly exposed to the clinical care side of that through shadowing. When I got into optometry, I met a variety of optometrists working in different settings. Doctors came and visited us, and then I also made an effort to go to conferences and learn about all the opportunities that are out there. So throughout my journey, I had learned the clinical proficiency and abilities that they teach us in school, but I've also had an interest in technology ever since I was a kid. I used to like take things apart to see how they work and tinker with them. So I'd always stay up to date with some of the latest things that are happening in the technology space. And I was learning about these emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D printing, and all these things seemed like they were really set to transform really the world and how we interact with each other and also the way that we work. And I was essentially connecting the dots in the back of my mind between optometry and the tools that we currently have, the tools that we were learning how to use in school to help our patients, and then also these emerging tools that hadn't quite made their way into optometry yet, but really had the potential to revolutionize the way that we care for patients. And over time, I cultivated an interest for entrepreneurship and went to entrepreneurial workshops to try to learn, how to kind of bridge the gap between a need and then providing a solution for it. And it came to a point where I narrowed down a specific area that I felt that I could actually contribute to. And that stemmed from actually working with patients during my fourth year internship. And I was at university hospitals in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was working with contact lens patients, helping them learn how to insert their lenses. And I ran into patients who just had a really, really difficult time. And from that, did more research and learned that up to 1 in 3 patients that actually get scleral lenses prescribed end up dropping out of lens wear, and that the actual handling of the lens, inserting and removing it, was the biggest reason that patients were actually giving up on these lenses. And so that was, a pain point that I thought, I could make an impact by trying to address. And then from there, I worked on picking up the skills on learning how to design devices and actually test them out and do the prototyping. So that was really something that I thought was on my path. I didn't know that it was even a path that was there, but through encountering a need and then having that interest in trying to actually help people, that's kind of where I was guided to. So that's one thing I'd like to encourage you to keep in mind is that, your path is not necessarily going to be revealed to you at the beginning of your journey, but if your heart is in the right place and you want to help people, things will actually reveal themselves to you when you're ready.
No, I love that. When you bring up technology, and I know I personally have this question, but the question is coming up in the chat too. People want to know, were you a science major or what did you major in when you were an undergrad, Dr. Majoo?
Yeah, that's actually a funny story. So I started as a biology major, and then I switched to international relations because I thought I wanted to be a diplomat. And so I was going through that path. And then during that time, I was actually still, I didn't write off optometry or healthcare. I kept shadowing optometrists and, learning about the field. And I came to a realization that really optometry was where I want to be. The control over my day-to-day work, the projects that I can work on, the freedom that optometry offered and the level of impact that I can make in people's lives was something that really attracted me to the field. And so at that point, I decided to switch back to biology to finish my undergraduate career. So I don't have any background in business or entrepreneurship, engineering, none of that. Biology, a little bit of international relations, and the rest is essentially things that I picked up along the way.
Do you have any advice to students who may not be traditional biology majors or science majors, or for those that are non-science majors, how can they prepare for the future of optometry, in your opinion?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing is having conviction in the journey that you're actually pursuing. So, for me, having that conviction that optometry was the right path for me is what really motivated me to put myself in a position to prepare for optometry school, get accepted into optometry school, and then do well once I got accepted. And the biggest thing that I think made the biggest change was finding whether optometry was the right path or not. And the thing that helped me with that is shadowing. So, I think that there's a certain point where, reflecting on things won't cut it anymore. So you have to actually be out there firsthand, see exactly where you're going to be, ask questions, engage with people, and just soak up as much information as you possibly can. So I think there's kind of a two-part kind of process that, looking back on it, I ended up implementing without really realizing at the time. Part of that was looking inward, and part of it was looking outward. So really finding out what the priorities for life were for me, and then looking at what the different opportunities that were out there, and then matching my priorities with the opportunities. That really is what clarified things for me.
And
No,
I
I
have
love
a practical piece of advice. If you are a non-science major, I would, which I think is fine, you definitely should minor in a science, just because you're going to need to complete the prerequisite courses anyway. So minoring in a science can help you kind of fulfill that requirement and keep you on track. If you're later in your collegiate career and you don't necessarily have the time to do a true minor and you're just completing the prerequisite courses, if you don't major in a science class, I would definitely suggest you take an OAT prep course. So taking some sort of course that is going to go over the science fundamentals that you will be tested on for the optometry admissions test. I know that there was a little bit of difference with that test this year with COVID, but in general, it's okay to not have a science major background, but you have to make up for it in the prep work, because what is coming intuitively to someone who studied science all college is something that you're going to have to reinforce. So as a practical step, I would say you just need to invest a little bit more in either a tutor or like a prep course or something to really prepare you for the OAT, which is going to test those basic science concepts. And then if you're early enough in your career, to minor in a science that aligns with the prerequisite requirements for optometry school. And I majored in biology. I was a Bachelor of Science major in biology. But if I had to do it again, I would have probably taken some other classes, because optometry school is 4 additional years of science. So if I knew that I was doing 4 years of science, do 4 more years of science, I might have really explored what classes were offered in undergrad. So you don't have to be a biology major, but just know when you're preparing for optometry school, you do want to invest in like a tutor or a course or something to help you bridge the gap.
No, I love that you bring that up, Dr. Richardson, because that's true. A majority of us major in biology or the sciences, but there are people in our class who major in everything: history majors, psychology majors, business majors, and things of that nature. And I agree with Dr. Richardson. If I could go back, I love my science courses and classes, but I also wish I spent some time kind of either minoring in something a little bit different. So if you are a science-based major, maybe take a different type of minor. Don't just couple it with the chemistry minor. Do a foreign language. I wish I would have finished my one more Spanish class to have a double minor in that, or choose a business class or something of that nature. But definitely students of all majors can apply to optometry school, but we're all expected to complete those prerequisites, and a majority of them are those science-based classes: physics, chemistry. Someone put in there organic chemistry, those things. So typically those are enough classes to at least have you minor in it as well. No, thank you guys. I know that many of you have heard about our 13% Promise Initiative, which is a call for equity for Black representation in eye care companies, schools, and colleges of optometry and optometry boards. And in that process, we want to create and develop the next generation of leaders. So I will give you guys each a final question on why is it important that we increase the representation of Black and even Hispanic doctors or doctors of color in our profession. Dr. Majoo, why don't we start with you?
Absolutely. So I think diversity has a dual benefit. So in terms of improving our profession, I think we need to attract the best and the brightest. And we actually need to have people from different backgrounds with different perspectives lend their creativity and their energy to our profession to keep optometry growing and thriving. So I think the field of optometry has a lot to benefit from increasing diversity. And then I think the other component that's really important to keep in mind as well is our patients. I think our patients are definitely served by having a diverse pool of care providers, not just from the providers that they receive direct care from, but by the fact that when those providers go to school, if they go to a school that has a diverse student population, that they're going to learn from their classmates about those classmates' experiences, the culture that they came from, and all those things come together to enable them to provide better care and care that is more culturally competent. And I think all patients deserve to be treated with that type of compassion.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson.
So, in my opinion, representation is important because we all know that having a seat at the table is sort of the ability to influence how decisions are made. And so, if you do want to increase, allocation of resources for certain programs, if you want to expand recruitment efforts for certain programs, if you want to have more people of color in positions of leadership or high-ranking places in the profession, representation is going to be super important. So I think really, in my opinion, though, the real value is that you are able to influence the future of the profession. You are able to influence the way we talk about our patients, the way we learn about racial disparities, the way we teach cultural competency. You are actually able to have a direct impact and a direct influence on that. I think a really cool example is I work with Johnson & Johnson, obviously, and we were doing a campaign to raise awareness. And one of the things I needed to post on social media, but the doctor was a man and was not Black. And I was like, I would never post something like this. This isn't aligned with me. And they took that feed, and I was like, well, do they have to even be a race? Can the people just be purple and green since it's a cartoon? And they took that feedback and actually created a cartoon of me. And so like the girl was Black and had braids and gold hoops and was like, a moment. And I think that's just such a prime example, because then we're going to disseminate that graphic on all of these different channels that are encouraging public facing consumers to take their eye care seriously, to think about their eye health. But the doctor, the animated doctor on the screen, is a Black girl in a white coat with braids and gold hoops. And that representation may find some student, some, elementary age child, who knows where it will land, right? But that may resonate with someone in a way that it wouldn't before. And it's not that it was an oversight, it's just, had I not been there to say that, there would never be a person who looks like me on a graphic. So I think that's a really micro example of why representation is so important within the profession, and not just at a patient care level, within all aspects of the profession. So I've been really grateful and really blessed to be aligned with companies that are actually doing the work of trying to improve diversity and inclusion within the profession. Companies like Johnson & Johnson, companies like Black Eye Care Perspective, National Optometric Association. I've been really grateful to work with these organizations. And I think we have to just remember the mission, because if we are not at the table, there will never be an opportunity for us to influence the profession or to have actually lasting impact on making changes that are going to be beneficial, not just for us as Black professionals, right? But for minority patient populations who need to be served, who need culturally competent care. So those are the reasons I think representation is super important. And it's something that we should continue to pursue, again, across all areas of the profession of optometry. So from the top to the bottom, from the sides, from the big states, little states, rural, community, we need to be everywhere, because that is really how we continue to push the profession forward in making it more inclusive and more diverse.
No, thank you, Dr. Richardson. Dr. Middleman, who we'll hear more from later, he wrote in the chat, diverse professions are high-performing professions. And I like to always share that when we are talking about diversity, yes, we're physically talking about, more men or more women, more people of color. But let's also talk about, where we practice, how we practice, and who we provide care to. Let's also talk about the posters, the pamphlet, and the messaging that we're handing out to our patients as well. And that's why it's very important that we have representation, and that we also become advisories or consultants in this profession, to help give, our opinions and also to increase our influence as well. So I thank you guys both. Thank you, Dr. Majoo. Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Thank you guys for just sharing those nuggets, pearls of wisdom with everyone, just sharing your journeys and being very transparent. To let everyone know that if they see it, they can be it and they can do it and achieve it too. So thank you guys so much for spending your time with us this evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. And I always like to tell students or anyone, I am available. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on social media via DM or email me on one of my many websites. But I'm here to be a resource and a tool. So if you guys have questions or want to chat with me a little bit more about the profession, about my path, about how to make it your own, I'm always here and my DMs are always open.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Dr. Richardson just mentioned is, not just the two of us, but really anyone in optometry that I had reached out to has always been very welcoming. And so I would encourage you to reach out, connect, learn, and understand, where you fit in optometry, because that is the thing that will continue to propel you on your journey. And I'd like to thank Black Eyecare Perspective for hosting us and for the great work that they do every single day to empower the next generation of optometrists.
No, thank you, guys. I implore you to join us in the chat. There's a lot of questions coming on. You guys keep those questions going. We have a lot of our eye care professionals, doctors of optometry, members from all of the organizations that are there to answer your questions. So keep the chat going. Thank you, guys. I would like to just do some shout outs and acknowledgments before we bring on our next speaker. So we asked you guys to shout out your schools, your colleges, your universities, your sororities and fraternities. I was able to see Delta Sigma Theta is in the house. I was able to see Spelman College is in the house. I have a lot of people saying hello from Chi-Town. We had some people shouting out Detroit, Michigan, and Hillsborough, New Jersey. I see we have a lot of PCO students. NECO is in the house as well. Hello. I see the Ohio State University. So this is amazing. Keep it going. I will say, it is not an IMPACT HBCU without also making an impact in terms of prizes and giveaways. So I would like to announce one of our first giveaways while we're talking about shouting out your schools, your universities. And I did mention earlier that we have people representing from elementary school, from college and beyond. So I would like to award $50 Amazon gift cards to the 9th grade class at the Eleanor McMinn Secondary School in New Orleans, Louisiana. I will tell you, all of them from their high school, they had the most students to register for our IMPACT HBCU event. That is amazing that we are touching even the youngest of people. You see, my daughter keeps making a guest appearance. She is even touched all the way from kindergarten. So we have elementary students participating live with me in-house and also live in this chat. So congratulations to the 9th grade students that registered from Eleanor McMinn Secondary School in New Orleans, Louisiana. Thank you for joining us tonight. So next, we will have Tracy Scott, who's the Director of Culture, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Philanthropy at National Vision. She's going to share their achievements in this space. Tracy?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tracy Scott, Director of Culture, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and Philanthropy at National Vision. We are very excited to be here this evening supporting Black Eyecare Perspective and their second annual IMPACT HBCU event. Thank you for giving us this platform to discuss how National Vision's DEI efforts support students, some of the changes we've made around DEI and philanthropy in our employment practices, and how DEI and philanthropy are related when it comes to helping marginalized groups around the world. Since partnering with Black Eyecare Perspective and committing to the 13% promise, We strive to provide opportunities to optometry students, as well as students attending historically Black colleges and universities, by providing scholarships, sponsored events, and exposure to real-world practical knowledge. The work we do allows us to support students from underserved and underrepresented communities at an earlier age, exposing them to opportunities they may otherwise not know exist in an industry that they may not have considered for their future. Representation is key in any industry, and the optical industry is no different. When we consider the 13% promise and the importance of increasing the number of Black doctors practicing in our profession, the earlier we begin educating students, particularly African American students, about careers in optometry, the greater the chance of reaching that goal. In addition to Black Eye Care Perspective, National Vision has provided support to diversity-related programs at the New England College of Optometry, the Vision Council Open Your Eyes program, and the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, who we partnered with to relaunch the Salus Summer Enrichment Program. We have made a 5-year commitment to the Salus program, and we look forward to seeing it thrive moving forward. Our sponsorships allow minority applicants to improve graduation rates, work with peer and faculty mentors, and attend seminars focusing on improving test-taking skills, financial literacy, and wellness. They help students prepare for the work required to complete optometry school. Part of our strategic plan is to be an industry leader in the effort to increase BIPOC representation in management and doctoral roles. At National Vision, approximately 45% of our OD community is BIPOC and 7% is African American. Doctors in the National Vision Doctor of Optometry Network are proud of our philanthropy efforts and count that as one of the reasons they enjoy working at National Vision. We will rigorously continue to support these initiatives and others like them in an effort to promote fairness and equality in recruiting, hiring practices, and educational opportunities for people of color. Within our organization, in the communities we serve, and when working with our global partners, our goal has always been to foster an environment based on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our associates and doctor network reflect the communities where our stores are located, and they're empowered through our programs to work closely with community leaders to help people see their best, to live their best. Our mission says it best: we help people by making quality eye care and eyewear more affordable and accessible. There's a critical need to provide sustainable eye care and quality eyewear to the 1.1 billion people around the world suffering from poor vision or vision loss and poor eye health. 90% do not have access to a pair of glasses, either due to lack of income or access or both. More than 50% of these individuals just need a simple pair of readers to correct their vision. We have made a commitment to help eliminate the world's vision problems with the help of our domestic and global partners. Consider the relationship between DEI and philanthropy. Poor eye health disproportionately affects marginalized groups, those living in low and middle income countries, women, Black and Indigenous people of color, the elderly, and disabled individuals. 90% of uncorrected vision problems are found in low and middle income countries. Women are 12% more likely to have vision loss than men, and 1 in 4 school-aged children has a vision problem that affects learning. Research has proven people of color are more likely to be negatively impacted if they are categorized in any of these groups. The COVID-19 pandemic has also played a critical role in increasing the equity gap for people in these marginalized groups. Healthy eyes and good vision increases people's potential of becoming and remaining gainfully employed, earning an education, staying healthy, and being able to take care of their needs and the needs of their families. Our DEI and philanthropy teams are bringing more awareness to the connection between DEI and our philanthropic efforts. Accessible and affordable eye health is key to achieving sustainable development goals and maintaining well-being for every person on the planet. We at National Vision look forward to being a part of helping the world see clearly. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Tracy, for sharing that with us. Originally established in 1976, the Robert E. Horn Summer Enrichment Program ran until 2015 and served over 700 participants. The program relaunched in June of 2021 to meet the increasingly diverse nation's optometric needs by increasing the number of graduating underrepresented minority optometrists. The goal of the newly relaunched Robert E. Horn Summer Enrichment Program is to improve the matriculation, attrition, and graduation rates of underrepresented minority applicants through a free 5-week hybrid virtual and residential program designed to introduce applicants to PCO's rigorous coursework and establish peer and faculty mentorship. Participants of the program receive 100+ hours of content, including coursework with current PCO faculty at no extra cost, peer and faculty mentors for the duration of the program, skill building seminars on studying, test taking, financial literacy, and wellness, and preparation for the rigors of optometry school. Salus University just completed a giving week to raise money for programs like the Summer Enrichment Program. And I encourage alumni, partner, friends, and families to make a donation designated to the Summer Enrichment Program. Myself, along with Black Eye Care Perspective co-founder Dr. Daryl Glover and Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club co-founder and co-advisor Dr. Jacoby Cleaver, are not only proud Salus grads, but we're also SEP alum, having participated and successfully completed the program during the summer of 2006. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing the president of Salus University, Dr. Michael Middleman, the dean of the Pennsylvania College of Optometry at Salus University, Dr. Melissa Trago, and Dr. Juliana Mosley Williams, the special assistant to the president for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Dr. Middleman, he is going to deliver our keynote message and share more about the Pennsylvania College of Optometry at Salus University, which is located in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania. So welcome, everyone. Hello, Dr. Trago.
Hi, I don't think we can hear you, Dr. Middleman.
And he is on mute.
Yes.
I'm going to my backup. I'm going to. Oh, can you hear me all right now?
Yes, we can. Hello.
Hello, Dr. John. This evening. First, I want to say how much I enjoyed the presentations of the last hour. They were fabulous. They were enlightening, and they speak to the, frankly, the future of our profession. With folks such as those two that just spoke, our profession is in great hands. You gave kind of a prelude to what we're doing with the Summer Enrichment Program, but let me tell you a little bit more about what we're doing at Salus and PCO, and then I will kind of finish up with where we're going and where we've been with the Summer Enrichment Program. You know, first off, I put it in the chat, you know, we really believe that a diverse profession, a diverse organization is a stronger organization. And we live that at PCO Salus. We have, we have been leading recruiting efforts for diverse professionals in our institution for many, many years. And I believe we have the largest Black student enrollment amongst colleges of optometry in the country now. And continuing the efforts to make underrepresented recruitment a priority, we committed to eyecare Perspectives Pledge to achieve 13% Black representation in the eye care industry. As a matter of fact, this year's incoming class surpassed that. We surpassed the goal because we had almost 14% of Black African-American students, 20 out of 145 of our students. Much of that thanks to the Summer Enrichment Program. But we also recognize the challenge if we want to consistently maintain this goal, we need to be recruiting talented faculty. So for those speakers who are out there earlier, even if you're in California, Philadelphia is pretty nice. And, I think Dr. Trago would join me in saying we'd love to have you come back, at least look in our direction. But, we also believe that if we're going to have diverse representation, we really need to be recruiting in the right places. And that means increasing our partnerships, whether it be with historically Black colleges and universities, For instance, we have, thanks to Paul Boone, our first agreement with Hampton University that we signed in 2020, but we're also working at others. We have a couple of HBCUs here in Pennsylvania that we really need to be making inroads in. And one of the things that we've done is we're trying to take non-traditional approaches to this as well. And this was touched upon earlier. We recognize that if we really want to influence students, prospective students of color, undergraduate school generally is not the place to do it. We need to be doing this in high school or even earlier. We are a member of the Southeastern Pennsylvania Consortium for Higher Education, SEPSHE. And that group alone has almost 27% undergraduate representation in Black and Latino students. But we're working very closely with them in a program called the Pathways Program. And you may not have heard of this yet, but our provost, Dr. Barry Eckert, has started this. And what we're doing is we're trying to put together a multi-level articulation series with community colleges, in particular the Community College of Philadelphia and Montgomery County Community College, and other four-year institutions that are part of this consortium, that's going to provide a clear pathway to professions such as optometry. And the neat thing about this is the community colleges have direct links into the high schools, especially in North Philadelphia and around our area. So as we work with them, they're actively recruiting in the high schools. We can actually get qualified students coming through the program and give them an end game, showing up hopefully at PCO to become optometrists. But that's, I think, as we look at how we influence these things, we have to be creative and we have to be thinking outside the box, because clearly sending out pamphlets and just putting things on websites is not going to do it. People need to see us walking the walk and talking the talk. And we certainly do that. Our Eye Institute is located in North Philadelphia. It's a predominantly African-American Black community. We've been there for over 40 years. As a matter of fact, my class, the class of 1980, was the first class to start practicing in the Eye Institute. But our patient population is, I'm going to guess, more than 70% African-American. And, and our student body and our faculty needs to be representative of that. And we clearly recognize that. So that's one of the impetuses behind us pushing this forward. Also, it's in our DNA. Our university's commitment to our mission and to our credo is the need to position diversity, equity, and inclusion at the forefront of everything that we do. And it's not just optometry. If you look at any one of our programs, we have similar initiatives. I just hired probably the best hire I've made since I've been here almost. But a special assistant to the president for diversity, equity, and inclusion. She's also my favorite editor, my best critic, and also, the person who in all seriousness, keeps us grounded in what we need to be doing to positively affect diversity, equity, and inclusion in our institution. So we're not just talking the talk, we are walking the walk. And frankly, and I'm talking about Dr. Juliana Mosley Williams. She is a force of nature in the best way. But since her arrival, Juliana has totally revamped our DEI committee, which I started probably 5 years ago, and it was doing great work, but it wasn't as energized as it is today. And what Juliana has been able to do is just, get people involved, get people moving in the right direction. We have, meetings with leadership, key department heads, and now everybody's learning. They know how to, access educational materials. Our President's Council is getting trained, and we're assisting leadership in all of these principles that we think are going to positively impact all of our strategic planning, our future decision making, and how we allocate resources at every level, because really that's where it's at. And clearly, as you can tell, I'm very excited about this, because I do believe it's not only the profession, it's not only represents the future of our institution, but it represents the future of the profession. Our profession has to look like the patients that we're serving. And frankly, all of the professions that we have to look like that. And we're not there yet. And I would tell you that even 13.8% of our class having representation from the Black community is not enough. And we need to be striving for more. And we'll get there. It's just kind of interesting. Beyond the diverse recruitment efforts that we have in our student body, our university, we've really been very intentional about getting underrepresented populations involved at all of the levels in which we work. Our board of trustees, for instance, is 57% women. It wasn't like that when I got here 8 years ago. It's up 23% from 10 years ago. We have 19% people of color. My president's council I'm in the minority. We have 55% women. It's just like I have 3 daughters at home, so I'm kind of used to it. And as of November 2020, 3 of our 11 members, which is almost 27% of our cabinet, senior cabinet members, are Black women. And while that should be the norm, it's not across the board. So this level of senior leadership, I think, is what helps to make Salus unique amongst our, any graduate and professional institution, certainly in Philadelphia, but I would argue probably nationally. And it makes us a better institution. We think of things differently. Our conversations are different. And really, when we think about how we're going to recruit, it's across the board. It's not, let's just go down to Drexel. We are much more creative than that. So let me double back to where you started at the summer enrichment program. Now, I got to give National Vision and Reed Foz a call out on this one, because if it wasn't for National Vision giving us a $300,000 grant, we would be having a very different conversation right now. But thanks to their generosity and frankly their foresight, we were able to rejuvenate a program that's over 50 years old, thanks to the vision of Bob Horn and frankly John Crozier and others who came long before me, to really get us into the right frame of mind when it comes to diversity. We became a charter member of the Philadelphia Center for Health Careers, which provided programs to recruit, enroll, and retain students of color. And 50 years ago, that was unheard of. Schools like ours out in the suburbs or North Philadelphia, we weren't doing that. Temple University might have been doing it, but we were the only optometry school and the only allied health profession school doing that. And, when the effort really didn't do what it was supposed to do, though, it led the institution to create the summer enrichment program. Bob Horn was just relentless about this. And I talked to him when we did the kickoff for our summer enrichment program a few months ago. And I got to tell you, he's a little bit older, but he's no less energized. And for good reason. Because to date, people like you and others, Dr. Shoge, are recipients of what this program can do. And frankly, we have assisted more than 700, I'll say that again, more than 700 students of color in graduating from PCO as doctors of optometry and then becoming a significant part of the tapestry that we call the fabric of our profession. So recognizing the tremendous efforts of our university, I'm obviously proud, but the field of healthcare practitioners and the larger community, we believe Salus, in particular PCO, has improved the program and welcomed the first new cohort, thanks to Melissa and Jackie Patterson and Juliana Williams and Dr. Barry Eckert, 15 Black students in this year's program. Of course, the pandemic put us behind about a year, but that's put everything behind about a year. But we're so excited. We lost 1 student, but we ended up with 14, and from what I understand, they're knocking it out of the park. And that's that's not because of anything we're doing in particular. It's because these students are motivated. I've talked to every one of them, and there's one guy, and I feel sorry for him, but and he must feel totally motivated because he's really knocking it out of the park. But we're just energized over this, and we believe that with the help of Black Eye Perspective and others, that we can really set the tone for the profession and help move us forward. Our admissions department, our curriculums, they're all geared around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Every one of our professions, thanks to the work that Dr. Williams is doing, has a piece that talks about health equity, and the importance of not only recruiting the right people, but how do we equitably and equally treat patients. And there are two differences between equity and equality. And we're teaching our students this because, well, we can teach them very easily, how to cure, but how to care and how to do the other things that are so important, that the things the patients really pick up on is something that most programs don't do. And thanks to the expertise we have with Dr. Williams, we're able to infuse that into our programs. So I think we're quite unique. I think our faculty and staff and people like Dr. Williams make us unique. And I'm extremely proud to represent our university. So I will yield to my colleagues if you want to add any comments.
Thanks, Dr. Middleman. I think the only thing I want to add is I think it's been a pleasure. And I know there's been a shout out to Dr. Shoge as well for her efforts in the SCP program. And we are incredibly proud of all of our SCP students and our alumni, and we cannot wait for next year's class as well. So shout out to Dr. Cleaver, Dr. Glover, Dr. Johnson. We are super proud of you.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you, Dr. Middleman. I paid him to say all those things. Anyway, but Dr. Trago is my right hand. I truly enjoy working with her, and she is too modest to say this. But let me tell you a little bit about her and why, if you're thinking about optometry, you might want to consider PCO. I have worked at 8 institutions, and she is the first dean of 8 institutions that I've ever worked with who truly cares and has a passion for students in a way that she is determined to make sure that they are all successful. That does not happen everywhere you go. For many of you who are in undergrad right now, you may not even know your dean's name. But when you come to PCO, you will not only know Dr. Trago's name, you will get to know her. It is not uncommon for her to give out her personal cell phone number or to tell students, I live 4 minutes away. I will come to a study session if you need. I have heard her do that on numerous occasions. And if you come to PCO and choose us, you will be left in the right hands, for sure. She cares and she's committed in a way that I've never seen before. She has pulled me in when I do not have a health science or healthcare background. But by the time this is over, I'm going to earn an honorary doctorate of optometry. So I figure I've been wearing glasses most of my life. I'm gonna help somebody else. So I want you to know that that's what you get. And when you're looking for schools of optometry, consider the level of support. There are many institutions who honestly are going to throw money your way. They're going to say, come here, we've got the scholarships, we've got the dollars. And that's great. But make sure that they are also going to offer you the support needed to get you all the way through to graduation. That's what's critical, right? Anybody can come in the door, but do you get through the program, graduate successfully, pass those boards, and be called doctor at the end of the day? And so the support you will receive with her, the support you kind of get with me on the side, these are the things that make us different. I haven't been to another school of optometry, but I'm just already telling you, I know we're the best. So consider us. And if we're not the place that you choose, we hope that you will go someplace phenomenal that will work for you. Quick shout out. While I did not attend a HBCU, I have worked for 4. I spent 10 years of my professional career at Kentucky State University, Philander Smith College, Edward Waters Now University, and Lincoln University here in Pennsylvania. And I'm a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I am 1 month shy of 28 years of service. So have a great evening, all. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you. Thank you to each of you for those wonderful words. I know that Dr. Cleaver was giving out some fun facts. He said that Dr. Shoge interviewed him when he applied to PCO. I know that Dean Horn was talking to Dr. Brown at PV when I was there, and I was interviewed by Dr. Warmington. We all know Dr. Trago even before she was the Dean of the Pennsylvania College of Optometry. She was our professor in many of our classes and in our clinical education. So it's even more amazing to see you grow up too, Dr. Trago, and have such an instrumental role at the university that we love so much. That is a perfect segue because I have a special message for each of you from those wonderful group of SEP students and our lone man, future optometrist Kendrick that is there. They have recorded a very nice message to show their gratitude and to let everyone know how much these charitable gifts and just bestowing the gift of education to them and giving them that opportunity for community at the Pennsylvania College of Optometry.
Hi, my name is Salus University, and on behalf of the Summer Enrichment Program Class of 2021, I want to thank all of our supporting partners, including National Vision and America's Best Contact and Eyeglasses, for providing the financial support for the SCP program.
Hi, I'm Dominica, and I also want to thank Black Eyecare Perspective, first of all, for organizing IMPACT HBCU and allowing us to use this platform to thank everyone involved in the SCP program. Also, thank you to all our mentors in Black Eyecare Perspective who have continued to support us through our optometry school, also encouraging us to apply for the Summer Enrichment Program. So thank you and thank you.
And lastly, we want to thank Dean Horn, who made this all possible for us. We also want to thank PCO and the other SCP alum. We thank you so much for paving the way and providing this opportunity for us. So lastly, we just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Middleman, Dr. Trago, Dr. Mosley Williams. Thank you, SCP class of 2021. I know you guys, we'll give some more announcements, but I do want everyone to know that the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, they'll be participating in the optometry school fair that is going on. The Association of the Schools and Colleges of Optometry is having a fair, and that is going to happen on Thursday, and we will give you more information on how you can talk more and continue this conversation with PCO and the other schools and colleges of optometry. But thank you guys. Thank you for being our guests this evening. So next, we're going to have a message from Nikki Doherty, the Manager of Culture, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Philanthropy at National Vision. And she also has some shout outs and some more on the diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at National Vision.
Hello, everyone. I am Nikki Doherty, and I work with National Vision as a manager for our Culture, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Philanthropy department. It is truly a pleasure to speak with you today, and I love to start off with a few shout-outs. I definitely want to shout out my beloved HBCU, which is Hampton University, my home by the sea. We are truly the real HU, especially after crushing Howard University recently at the HU Classic football game in Washington, D.C. I also want to shout out Florida A&M University. My mother was a graduate of FAMU and a Rattler, and I attended so many homecomings and classics growing up as a Florida resident that I truly feel like I'm a part of the FAMU family as well. Finally, I want to shout out my fabulous sorority sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I joined that sisterhood on the campus of Hampton University, and I love reconnecting with them whenever we convene at our homecoming yearly. Our Culture, DEI, and Philanthropy team also has another associate who is a graduate of Spelman College. So shout out to the amazing, phenomenal women of Spelman as well. Today, I'd love to talk about and share some of our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts here at National Vision. Our mission as a department is to truly infuse DE&I into our culture here through authentic action. Our goal is to remain dedicated to this committed work and have every optometrist in our network to feel comfortable in bringing their full selves to work each day. Our intention is to educate optometrists and associates on awareness, allyship, and advocacy for diversity of thought, race, ethnicity, disability, background, sexuality, religion, and gender. Recently, National Vision was recognized by Forbes as a Best Employer for Diversity, as well as a Best Employer for Women. We are also recognized among the 6% of companies on the Russell 3000 Index holding 50/50 Women on Board's highest designation for board-level gender diversity. Our CEO is a signatory to the CEO Action for Diversity and Inclusion Pledge in the growing coalition of nearly 2,000 business leaders across 85 industries pledging to act on supporting more inclusive workplaces. Our DEI journey started off with a diversity council, which was composed of optometrists, executive leaders, and field leaders. The Diversity Council was very instrumental in offering insights and information that was beneficial and ultimately guided the development of our foundational diversity initiatives. As a result, we launched focus groups where senior executives could hear from various ethnic groups voicing their experiences and concerns here at National Vision as a person of color. We hold discussions with our Black optometrists and field leaders, our Asian American Pacific Islander optometrists and field leaders, as well as our Hispanic Latinx optometrists and field leaders. As a result of the feedback from those focus groups, we created a patient customer redirect training to train optometrists and associates on how to deal with patients and customers that came in and engaged in sexist, racist, or disrespectful and inappropriate conduct while visiting our store locations. We are also bringing awareness to optometrists and associates through education and discussion with our Lunch and Learn series, which aims to build awareness, teach new concepts, and create understanding and discussion around important topics that affect us here at work and beyond. Each month, we have one of our senior executives serve as a sponsor and a guest panelist. And since January, we've had the opportunity to discuss topics such as why diversity matters, unconscious bias, empathy being the key to active listening, cultural intelligence, racism, LGBTQ+ in the workplace, disability inclusion in the workplace, as well as disarming microaggressions. From these discussions, our intention is for optometrists and associates to experience personal growth and to create allyship as well as advocacy. Part of our strategy is to be an industry leader within the optical field in an effort to increase representation of optometrists that identify as a person of color, which is why we're here with you today on this platform as a sponsor for IMPACT HBCU. We love that Black eyecare perspective is being intentional and partnering with historically Black colleges and universities to create a pipeline for students into the optometry field. Currently, 45% of our optometrists identify as a person of color, but like Black eyecare perspective, we would love to increase the representation of Black optometrists. Another part of our strategy here at National Vision is to support opportunities to reduce barriers to success and broaden access to education for students from backgrounds that are underrepresented in optometry. We are also partnering with diverse organizations that are aligned with and support our core DEI values by positively impacting marginalized groups such as people of color, women, the LGBTQ+ community, and youth through our philanthropic efforts. A part of our strategy is to build a strong pipeline of candidates that identify as a person of color. We are partnering with our recruiting team to continue to find ways to accomplish that. All of our recruiters have become certified diversity recruiters, and currently more than 50% of our associates identify as a person of color. So another part of our strategy is to build a strong development program so that we can draw from an internal pool of promotable leaders and increase representation in management and executive roles. So I truly hope that I have enlightened you and opened your eyes to the culture here at National Vision as we continue to infuse diversity, equity, and inclusion into all that we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikis, for that message. I want you guys to keep it going in the comments. Let me know what schools are here. I have a special message from one of our dear friends. He was able to join us last year virtually, and he came back again for another special message. But while we hear from our beloved comedian, Ricky Smiley, I want you guys to make some noise in the chat and let me know what schools are represented, because I have another giveaway coming up, and that giveaway is going to go to the HBCU with the most people registered. So make some noise, make some predictions, and let us know. Ricky?
Hey, what up? This is your boy Ricky Smiley, man, and I am very excited to once again have the opportunity to present alongside National Vision to all you aspiring HBCU students. Everybody knows that I'm a proud graduate of Alabama State, the Alabama State University. Attending an HBCU gave me the knowledge and confidence to know that I could succeed. I learned not only from my professors, but the whole HBCU community, and that truly empowered me to succeed in the field that I'm passionate about. Hey, having worn glasses since I was in the 3rd grade, I had a dream to design stylish, affordable eyewear. America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses helped make that dream come true. In 2014, I launched my Ricky Smiley frame line exclusively with America's Best. Stylish and affordable frames for both men and women that I designed. And what I love about America's Best is their commitment to providing eye care and eyewear that is affordable and accessible for everyone. So today I want to encourage each of you to follow your passions and dreams. My advice to you is to become involved in the entire HBCU college experience. You never know what doors may open and who you'll meet, or what you will discover about yourself and your true passions. I want to once again say thank you to National Vision and America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses for a wonderful partnership, and I applaud their support of Black eye care perspective and commitment to educating Black young adults about the option of optometry as a career path. So please keep an open mind if this could be a passion for you. And congratulations to all of you. You are on your way to becoming future Black leaders in America.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you for that message. Thank you for your continuous support of not only this event, but of our historically Black colleges of universities, as well as the eye care industry. So I see some of y'all making some noise. We got University of Alabama, University of Memphis. We have our optometry schools in here making some noise. We have a lot of University of Houston College of Optometry. We have the NSU College of Optometry. I see Ohio State. I see Alcorn State. Hey, Deja. I see Hampton University. We have Spelman College. We have Prairie View. Keep making that noise. I will say we have a lot of historically Black colleges of universities, a lot of schools and colleges of optometry being represented tonight, as well as elementary, middle, and high schools across the nation. It is with my pleasure to give out some more $50 Amazon gift cards. And this is going to go to the HBCU or the HBCUs that have the most students registered. Where will it be? I see everyone. We have Puerto Rico in the house. Yes, SCO, PCO, Alabama, A&M. Hello, hello. So I will say the top 2 HBCUs this year with the most students registered is, drum roll, Bowie State and Maryland, and Xavier University of Louisiana. I will say that message has made it all the way to Louisiana. So congrats to the students that are registered from Xavier University of Louisiana, and as well as Bowie State. We will contact you to get your gift card to you. So, as many of you guys know, at the schools and colleges of optometry, especially our favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover, he has been on a tour with the My Eye Doctor team, visiting schools and colleges of optometry across the nation. So last month, he was at the New England College of Optometry and the Kentucky College of Optometry, and they are headed next to the Indiana University School of Optometry, as well as Nova Southeastern University College of Optometry. So make sure that you guys stay tuned to when Dr. Daryl Glover and the My Eye Doctor team is coming to visit a school near you. So they are headed to Indiana and they're headed to Florida next. Let them know in the comments if you want them to come and visit you too. And I now have here with me the Vice President of Culture and Communications at My Eye Doctor, Joe Sherrier. Welcome, Joe.
Welcome to me. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. I appreciate everything you're doing. It's a great presentation. I'd like to thank everyone who has helped to put this together, Dr. Kleber, Dr. Daryl Glover, who is actually my personal optometrist as well. So thank you, Dr. Glover. And if you have an opportunity for Dr. Glover to come to your school, you need to get in the chat right now and encourage him to come. He is a great man, a great optometrist, and you'll learn a tremendous amount about the business. So thank you, Dr. Glover. As Dr. Johnson said, my name is Joe Sherrier. I'm the Vice President of Culture and Communications with My Eye Doctor. And if you had asked me in the May of 2020 if we were doing well with our diversity efforts, I would have said that we were doing very well. We were a very diverse organization, continue to be. We are woman-led, but yet we started to look a little deeper. And as you pull back, we realized that there was work to be done, particularly at our levels of leadership. And I applaud Black Eye Care Perspectives for getting to the root of the problem, which is increasing that pipeline. So the first thing that we've done at My Eye Doctor is to create a listening group because we knew we could not wait to be taught. We had an obligation to go out and learn. So we created our One Together team, which was a diverse group of doctors, office staff, back office staff, to come together to help us to review and give a new look to all of our policies, procedures, and all of our efforts in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We needed their voices not only to help us identify areas where we could improve, but areas where we needed to be held accountable. And so I'm glad to say that thanks to their efforts, we were able to revamp our recruiting process to make sure that we were more inclusive, that we were advertising and reaching out to those communities that we needed to be heard from. We increased the number of Black recruiters within our organization in order to make sure that we were eliminating as much bias as possible. We were very intentional when putting together our Emerging Leaders program to help people of color to become more leaders within our organization and hopefully continue to see the entire profession. When it came to looking at our supply chain, we knew we had an opportunity to increase the number of Black entrepreneurs that benefited from being a part of the My Eye Doctor team. And we were proud to start our partnership with Shaquille O'Neal and to have him carry an exclusive brand within our offices for all of those folks. And we will continue to expand on that partnership with Shaquille O'Neal. I don't want to give away any secrets, but you'll be hearing more about his partnership with My Eye Doctor in the near future. And then lastly, we realized that we needed to not just wait for communities of color to come to us. We needed to get out there and go to them. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, that became a little more challenging, but I am happy to say that in honor of our 20th birthday, which occurred this month, that we will be having 20 days of service in March, where we will be within communities of color and communities of need and providing eyewear and eye health exams to particularly young people. Because as one of the earlier speakers said, when people are looked at that they can't see very well in school, they're starting to track into things where they don't have as much of an advantage to move up. And we want to be part of that solution for those folks. So proud to announce those 20 days of service, and you'll be hearing more about that in the next couple of months. In short, we're not done. We continue to look forward to this partnership with Black Eye Care Perspectives and this fabulous program that you've put together. And we look forward to you continuing to hold us and everyone in the industry accountable to improve the pipeline of Black entrepreneurs and Black optometrists so that we can continue to make this profession more diverse, more inclusive, and more equitable. And finally, I leave you with this thought, you can see with your heart and your mind. It's not just your eyes. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and thank you to everyone for putting together this wonderful program.
Thank you, Joe, and happy 20th birthday to My Eye Doctor.
Thank
I
you.
will also make a personal plea. Hey, Shaq, are you watching us? I know you have sons that go to HBCUs, so we want to send you a shirt. We want to partner with you as well. So thank you, Joe. Thank you for everything that the My Eye Doctor team is doing. And again, you guys let them know in the chat. They are sending Dr. Daryl Glover and the team to a school near you. They also, for you optometry students, I believe they have an interview event coming up for the My Eye Doctor team as well at the end of the month. So make sure that you follow them on LinkedIn so you can get more information about that. So that is for those optometry students that are graduating and becoming doctors of optometry. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
So I now want to introduce to you two wonderful people that I recently had the pleasure of meeting at Vision Expo West in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm introducing to you Reggie Rosabillo and Vanessa Chaveri-Gratz, who are doctor recruiters for Warby Parker. Reggie?
Hi, everyone. We are Warby Parker, and we are so excited to be back as a partner to Black Eye Care Perspective for the second annual IMPACT HBCU event, alongside America's Best and My Eye Doctor. Thank you so much to the entire team for allowing us the chance to participate in this event again, and thank you to you all for being here tonight. My name is Reggie, and I'm one of the doctor recruiters here at Warby Parker. I want to take a moment to introduce us and share a bit more about our company and how we're dedicated to making the field of optometry a more diverse and equitable place. To begin, Warby Parker was founded with a mission to inspire and impact the world with vision, purpose, and style. Since we launched in 2010, we've grown from being online only to now having over 140 stores in the US and Canada, where our customers can shop for glasses and contacts, as well as have eye exams and vision tests performed by our doctors. As a company, we're committed to providing unparalleled vision care to every customer, and our doctors are truly at the forefront of making this happen. Isn't it amazing to think that this will all be you someday? As the doctors that provide quality care to others, whether you go into corporate optometry, private practice, or the modality that interests you the most. Since Brianna and I began working with Black Eye Care Perspective last year, we were inspired by the work the organization is doing to bring awareness to the optometry profession and to support students on their journey to becoming doctors. We've been so lucky to work with so many students in the last year that are now in programs at NECO, Salus, or UAB, and we cannot wait to see where you all may go someday. Now I'll pass it off to my doctor recruiter partner, Vanessa, who will be joining me this year and working more with each of you.
Thanks, Reggie. Now I want to share a bit about the work we've been doing here at Warby Parker. As a company, we strive to celebrate the diverse backgrounds and perspectives of our employees, our customers, and our partners. Since our founding in 2010, we remain dedicated to building a workplace that supports and celebrates all of our team members of any identity or life experience. This is why we publicly shared our racial equity strategy last year in 2020, which is our plan to promote racial equity within Warby Parker, the industries in which we operate, and beyond. Our racial equity strategy supports 10 goals, one of which is to increase Black representation in the field of optometry. If you'd like to see the strategy and our reporting against progress, definitely visit our website. Now, you may know that the field of optometry is not that diverse yet, with only 2.7% of optometrists currently identifying as Black. This is why we established the Warby Parker Scholarship at NECO in the fall of 2020 to cover the tuition of 2 Black scholars for their 4-year Doctor of Optometry program. We recently expanded this program earlier this year to cover the tuition of 2 more Black scholars. This means that Warby Parker will now provide $700,000 in scholarships to increase Black representation in the field of optometry. In total, this will cover tuition for 4 students to complete NECO's 4-year program. Following the announcement of the inaugural fund last year, NECO saw a record number of Black applicants, increasing by 85% from the previous year. As our co-founder and co-CEO Neil Blumenthal shared, it's critical that we continue to lay the groundwork for long-term change in the optometry industry. Increasing representation takes dedicated time, resources, and proactivity. This is an ongoing process, and our commitment to furthering diversity, equity, and inclusion in the industry is a long-term priority.
In closing, we wanted to share that initiatives like this are just one element of a larger strategic effort to create change. It takes time and collective action from all of us, and we're excited and eager to do the work. Warby Parker welcomed our first doctor into our first retail location nearly 8 years ago, and we've grown our team of doctors exponentially in the last few years. Likewise, as we mentioned earlier, NECO saw an 85% increase in applications from Black students from the previous year, which shows that awareness and interest in the field of optometry is indeed growing. As you can see from today's presenters and speakers, we are so excited to partner with organizations like Black Eye Care Perspective as we work to create a more diverse profession in the field of optometry. As tonight is about you, I want to end by saying we cannot wait for you to enter into your dream school or land your dream job of being a doctor in the coming years. We look forward to working with and alongside you to make the field of optometry more equitable and more diverse. Thank you so much again for being here tonight, and we wish you all the best as you continue your journeys onward.
Thank you. Thank you, Reggie and Vanessa, for all that you do and for what Warby Parker is doing in redefining the color of the eye care industry. You guys heard that there are more scholarships, more funding towards programming in regards to the future of optometry and job opportunities. I know someone had asked, is optometry saturated? We are not. There are many areas where we have areas of need, where we need doctors of optometry to go and practice in different corporate, private, community health, retail locations. So there is room for more optometrists in this industry. So thank you again. Thank you to all of our industry partners. Thank you to the Pennsylvania College of Optometry. Thank you to our SCP alum. I now would like to bring on my partner in optometry and fellow community health optometrist, Dr. Jacoby Cleaver, to share more about the partnership with Warby Parker and Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club and where the club is now 1 year later. Hey, Jacoby.
Hey, thanks, Essence. As she mentioned, my name is Dr. Jacoby Cleaver. I serve as the Director of Program Management for Black Eye Care Perspective. Alongside Dr. Johnson, I also serve as the co-founder and co-advisor of the Pre-Optometry Club, the Black Eye Care Pre-Optometry Club, the first nationally recognized pre-optometry club by the Association of Schools and Colleges of Optometry. The club was established in 2020 to ensure not a single potential Black or African-American student or optometrist is ignored, discouraged, or disadvantaged. BEPPOC provides future optometrists with personal, professional, and psychological resources, as well as the support they need to not only survive, but thrive in their pursuit of the profession. We started with 8. Now we are approaching 100 members. Members who represent 54 different undergraduate institutions, with 15 of those being HBCUs. 90% of our inaugural cohort matriculated into the schools and colleges of optometry was connected with over $100,000 in resources, scholarships, and grants. Last year, we forged many alliances and partnerships, and I have to express my sincere gratitude as each and every one of you have been very instrumental in the growth of the club. Mike Miller, Reggie Rosabillo, Brianna Navarro, Dr. Teresa Lee, and Johnson & Johnson Vision, our past and current BEPPOC leadership team, of course, our BEPPOC members, and every guest that has come to speak to the club in the past year. And also a special thank you to our executive assistant, Sam. And this is turning out to be pretty much the unofficial official optometry week. We're kicking it off with IMPACT HBCU tonight, but tomorrow, join us for our monthly club meeting. We will be joined with guest Mike Miller of B Forte, the Director of Professional Education at Johnson & Johnson Vision Care, Giovanna Oliveris, and the Communication and Outreach Senior Specialist, Tony Macuso of the Association of American Medical College. Follow us on at BEPPOC, and I'll post a reminder in the morning about all these, about all our meetings and everything. Also, Thursday, October 14th, the ASCO Optometry Fair. They're starting at 8 a.m. Central and going till 6 p.m. Central. That's all day. There will be a number of optometry schools and colleges. Perfect opportunity to ask those questions and get information. Register at careerecho.com, hit the virtual events tab, search optometry, and the flyer will pop up. Registration is free of charge, optional to upload your resume, but is not required to attend. Also, this week, UC Davis and our own Dr. S.S. Johnson, she'll be on the board with UC Davis Pre-Health Conference, which will be held virtually via Zoom on Saturday, October 16th, 2021. Dr. Essence Johnson will be participating in the optometry school admissions panel from 2:10 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Register at prehealthconference.ucdavis.edu. The cost to attend is $5. Also, if you're ready to submit those applications, we urge you to click submit. As you know, we did have our signing day, our first annual signing day in April of this year, and it was a huge success. This is a high energy event. We want to celebrate all those who will be entering optometry school the following fall. So we just celebrated the class of 2025. Next year, we'll be celebrating the class of 2026. It was a real fun event. We was able to give away over $23,000 in matriculation scholarships, and also we rewarded contest winners, video winners, TikTok winners, those kind of things. So for those who've already been accepted, get that school swag right. To those of you who will be getting accepted, get that school swag right. Get those video ideas ready, and let us know. We'd love to celebrate you.
Thank you, Dr. Cleaver. We do have an action-packed week this week. So we want you all to message us if you're interested in joining the Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club. If you would like a link to tomorrow's meeting, then we want you guys to register for the ASCO Optometry Virtual Fair and get to have a more in-depth conversation with those schools and colleges of optometry. And then if you guys can also join me this weekend for the UC Davis Pre-Health Conference, more opportunities to get to know other schools and colleges of optometry. But this is also an opportunity for any of you guys who are interested or don't know if you're interested yet in the pre-health field to learn about all the different professions, optometry included, but dentistry, pharmacy, pre-med, all of those. So these are all great events to learn more about healthcare, and especially to learn more about optometry as well. Now, you know, Dr. Cleaver, I don't think we've given away enough stuff tonight.
It's your world. If you want to keep giving away stuff, I'm all right with that.
I think I do want to keep giving away stuff. So we kicked off Impact HBCU by having a social media contest. We were able to give away 2 Impact HBCU t-shirts that went to Howard alumni Melissa and Tuskegee alumna Nautica. So congratulations, ladies, for participating. There was one winner at the @BEPPOC page and one at the @Black Eye Care Perspective page as well. If you have not received your shirt and you ordered one, they are en route to you. If you would like a shirt, we will also share that link so that you can go to the website and order an Impact HBCU shirt. If you have a shirt, please post it, share with @BEPPOC and @Black Eye Care Perspective. Make a video repping your school or college of optometry, your sorority, your fraternity, your historically Black college or university, or just undergraduate institution in general. We want to see you. We started a campaign where we were highlighting those doctors of optometry that graduated from a historically Black college and university. So that if you want to be recognized there, we will share that link as well. The National Optometric Association, we talked about the articulation agreement between Hampton and the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, but they also have the NOA through the Marvin Poston family. They have an Envisioning the Future scholarship that is geared to future optometrists that attend a historically Black college and university. And many of our Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club members and just our Black doctors that attend, or future doctors that attend HBCUs, were recipients of that scholarship, and they are gearing up to get their next batch of recipients. So if you are a student that attends an HBCU and you are interested in the profession of optometry, Dr. Paula Boone, our first female optometrist in Virginia, she is in the chat. I know that she left her email. You want to reach out to her. If you are a future optometrist, you should make her acquaintance anyway. She is such a gem. She is such a jewel. She is definitely one of my NOA and optometry best friends. So yes, HBCU students, we're showing you a little bit of love. There are extra scholarships for you, and those are offered through the National Optometric Association. So Dr. Cleaver said that I can give away a few more things. So we gave out some Amazon gift cards to the students at Eleanor McMinn Secondary School in New Orleans.
Hold on, Essence. Right before you go, I want to be sure that I extend the invite to anyone who wants to join us tomorrow for our BEPPOC meeting. Like I said, we'll make a post on Instagram tomorrow. Just slide in our DMs, tell us you'd like to join us, and we'll just share the link. Tomorrow is going to be a very, very informative meeting. You don't want to miss it. You don't have to be a member to attend. Please come and join us, and we'll love to have you. Proceed, Essence, and giving away whatever.
I can give away what I want to give away. So we gave out Amazon gift cards to the Eleanor McMinn Secondary School. You shout out, say hey to the students who registered from Xavier University of Louisiana and to those students at Bowie State. Now this one, all of the students that registered, and we had over 150 students to register, not including the many more students that are tuning in and watching live and that will watch this later. But I got the permission that I can give out something good. And what I hear in school these days, you guys need iPads to learn. We had books, you guys need iPads. So I am going to give away.
How many?
I'm in a generous mood, and lately I've been like doing things in threes. So I'm going to give out not one,
it's good,
not two, but 3 Apple iPads, and I'm going to choose those people at random in our name generator. And so the first Apple iPad will go to Tia Robbins. Tia Robbins, if you are present, you're lucky. You don't have to be present to win because I got your email, your address, all that good stuff. But if you are here, say hey and tell us what school you are representing. Our second iPad will go to Martine Pierre Paul. Martine, if you are out there in cyberspace, say hey. And our last one will go to Tony Gordon.
Nice.
So congratulations to Tia Robbins, Martine Pierre Paul, and Tony Gordon. We will reach out to you, or you guys can also reach out to us, but we will make sure that you get your Apple iPad. And we will also ensure that those students that registered from the Eleanor McMinn Secondary School, Xavier University of Louisiana, and Bowie State as well get their Amazon gift cards, which brings me to some of my closing calls to action. So Black Eye Care Perspective, we work under our nonprofit, which is known as Diversity Perspective, and you can find Diversity Perspective on Amazon Smiles. So if you are not familiar with Amazon Smiles, it is their giving program, and there are qualified purchases that you make, and a percentage will be donated to a nonprofit of your choice. So we ask for you to choose Diversity Perspective when you are shopping under the Amazon Smiles to help grow our initiatives here at Black Eye Care Perspective. Dr. Cleaver shared about our signing day, our pre-optometry club, this event, our IMPACT HBCU. So we would love for you to show your support every time you shop at Amazon by choosing Diversity Perspective. Dr. Cleaver said, join our pre-optometry club. We have other people in the chat telling y'all to join the club. It is definitely a fun environment, just a community of sisterhood and brotherhood, but also the place where we grow personally, professionally, and psychologically. So we always would love to thank our speakers, the speakers that come from Johnson & Johnson Vision, Mike Miller from B Forte, who helps us literally get our mind right every meeting. And then tomorrow, our special guest will be Tony Mancuso, who is affiliated with the SHPEP program. We will have a commercial when we end this program to tell you more about what it is. But basically, it is a program for students that are in college to explore the medical professions. And optometry is one of those professions that you can explore at the Western School that Dr. Majoo went to in Pomona, California, as well as the University of Alabama at Birmingham School of Optometry. So if you're interested and you are in college currently, and you may even be that non-traditional student or major, sign up to be a part of the SHPEP program. It happens over the summertime, and that will give you more exposure to optometry. Or if you are interested in other healthcare professions, there are other options as well through that program. Again, you guys can purchase a shirt on Daviega Designs. That website is www.daviegadesigns.com. And I would like to say thank you to our partners. Say thank you to DeFocus Media. Say thank you to America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, My Eye Doctor, and Warby Parker. Thank you to my soror and Norfolk State University alumni, Sonia Worrell, who is co-founder and chief content creator for the HBCU Nation, HBCU iRadio, and HBCU Smart TV. Thank you to Wilberforce University alumni, Monique Robinson, founder at A Better Chance for Youth Futures, and I believe we are streaming over there on that page as well.
Thank you.
Thank you to Elizabeth Leba, founder of Black History and Culture Academy. She was showing love on LinkedIn, so thank you. Thank you to the schools and colleges of optometry. Thank you to our IMPACT HBCU and BEPPOC ambassadors. We do it for you and are able to do it because of you all. Thank you to the Association of the Schools and Colleges of Optometry, the New England College of Optometry, the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, our National Optometric Association, and our whole Black Eye Care community. To our eye care and industry media outlets, thank you all. A personal thank you to our team, our friends, our family, sorors, fraternity, brothers, classmates, and of course, my Prairie View grads. We just want to extend our thank you to everyone. And we'll also say, thank you to our eyewear design partners. You guys may have heard on other casts that we have done that if you are a doctor, there is a Black Eye Care Perspective buying code for eye candy creations. I believe Dr. Cleaver tonight has on his FUBU frames. I'm wearing my Kazuku lunettes. And we also want to shout out those Morgan State alum, the ladies of Vontel, Tracy. Hello, everyone. And we want to also just encourage you to support our industry in all of the different avenues that we have. So whether it is shopping with the eye care fashion designers, whether it is supporting the schools and colleges of optometry, whether it is mentoring and assisting those future optometrists to getting into this profession, as well as just our community in general, to know the importance of eye care and healthcare, as well as your self-care. So thank you everyone for coming tonight. And with that, we will close. Stay tuned so you can learn more about the SHPEP program. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Good night.
I do not regret the experience whatsoever. I made lifelong friends, met great mentors, and it further reinforced my desire to attend medical school.
I would say SNDEP truly meant everything to me. I'm currently a fourth-year medical student at the St. Louis University School of Medicine, currently applying into ophthalmology. And without SNDEP, I wouldn't be where I am today.
I tell everyone I don't think I'd be a doctor today if it wasn't for, at that time, MNEP, but now SHPEP.